Okay, I think I've got my eyebrows even this time.
Well, hi. So this week has been the kind of week where... Okay, so you've finally got your dream date and you want to look your best. So you spend hours showering, agonizing over the perfect wardrobe combination, plucking out that stray hair that's been sticking out of your eyebrows so long your friends had given it a name, and of course cutting your fingernails, because that is the sign of someone who really cares. So with just a few more minutes to spare, you grab the box of chocolates that you bought them as a gift. Pretty expensive ones normally, but you found them in the reduced section, at which point you realise they've still got the label on. So you start trying to peel it off, but your freshly declawed fingernails just keep sliding over it. In your frustration, you dig in harder, and the box explodes, showering chocolate all over your decent clothes. You know what I mean?
The Graticast, Episode 2, The Wad of Cash.
You see, at the start of this week, in theory, I was loaded. I'd just completed a very lucrative project, and I had another one coming up in Milan, no less. But in practice, things were pretty tight. The lucrative client was slow paying, and I'd had to book my flights for Milan ahead of receiving the expenses. In the middle of all this, my dad phoned asking me to come over in a van and help him relocate while the landlords did some major refurbishments to his house. So I paid to book a van, but had to keep some money in my account for the damages deposit. Plus my rent was due, I had a party to attend, and I was taking some friends to see a show. But I wasn't panicking, because one of the things I do very well is budget, and I make provisions for things like family emergencies, temporally challenged payers, and the occasional unexpected bout of leisure. So on Friday evening, I went along to a cash machine to take out the money I needed for the party and the show, and as I strode away, I realised I'd just taken the money out from the account I needed for the van deposit. But it was okay. Yes, I also made provisions for complications induced by my own personal stupidity. Okay, there wasn't quite enough money in my other account to authorise the deposit on a card, but I could take out the cash from that account to make up the deposit in hard money. So the situation was saved, I thought. I went to collect the van on Saturday, about 90 minutes before I was due to perform at a children's party, and when the lovely lady asked me for the deposit, I presented my big wad of cash.
Oh, I'm sorry, we can't take cash deposits at the weekends. The member of staff with the key to our cash locker ain't here.
That put me in a predicament. My dad really needed that van. I really needed to be driving to a party in less than an hour, but the hire company needed a card with enough space on it to authorise a deposit for damages. So now all I could do was try and find a friend who could come to my rescue with a bank card. I wasn't actually asking for money, just space to authorise the deposit, and I did have a big wad of cash I could pass over to whoever could help, but it was still an embarrassing situation. What's more, since none of my long-term friends seemed to be available, that left only people who I'd really only met in the last month. Way to make a good impression on new friends, huh? But I had no choice. I braced myself for the incoming humiliation, swallowed my pride, and called up some of those brand new buddies. Hi, yeah, it's Chip. We met a few weeks ago, remember? Could I possibly borrow your credit card? That could have seriously ruined my whole week. But you know what? It turns out pride can have great nutritional value. Not only were those buddies happy to help, but they seemed pleased it gave them an excuse to be in the area and check out an animal shelter, where they ended up taking home a new pet. They also stopped for a while so I could take them out for a tea cake and a coffee to say thank you, which gave us a chance to have a lovely and long conversation to deepen our friendship. Plus it meant that after returning the van, they returned me my huge wad of cash, which came in handy later when I took another great friend to a charming little cafe and discovered that they couldn't accept cards. So, taking the plunge and risking humiliation had actually brought me many moments of genuine joy. So being short of a bank card to authorise the deposit myself turned out to be a blessing. Albeit in a disguise that would have given Mrs. Doubtfire a run for her money. And so once again, I felt encouraged to start counting the blessings that had kept me going through the week. Chief among them, of course, being the friends who had helped me in that dire hire situation. There was also the bottle of water that I stopped to buy off the M23, moments before a traffic collision I may have otherwise been part of, the staff at the Willingham Auctions Cafe who modified a meat dish to accommodate my vegetarian tastes, that moment when you're with a group of friends and you're desperately trying to remember the name of the band who recorded a certain song, and then you finally all remember it at the same time. And of course, I'm ever grateful to my family, my kitten Tito, and the taste of toothpaste for giving me a reason to smile every day. And thank you for all of your inspiring gratitudes too. We've got a thank you here from Michelle Crisp to the Herculean man who managed to turn a key in the steel door she was trying to open. Fliss Hansley was grateful for sharing a walk hand in hand with her husband, and that's a simple pleasure you never want to take for granted, do you? Claire Adams was strangely grateful for her son's tummy bug. Why? Well, it meant that they couldn't go camping, which gave her some unexpected time to relax and watch some catch-up TV. I gather he also got better in time for them to go camping too, so it was good news all round. And finally for this week, Kat Maltby would like to thank the anonymous poet who left a beautiful verse of love sickness for her to find, 20 years later, on the side of a box where she works. Kat is grateful to this heartbroken gopher, whoever he may be, for helping her discover some humanity among the monotony of work, and she hopes he eventually got over that strumpet Lucy. Now let's have our Gratitune. This week's suggestion comes from Amy near Stowmarket, and it's Lemonade by Chris Rice. If it's picking you up as well, then why not click the link below for the full song? While you're there, please don't forget to click the button to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done already. It's very difficult sometimes to be grateful when your own body is keeping you prisoner. That's why we're supporting the work of ME Research UK. You don't need to pay a penny if you don't want to, but just by subscribing to this channel, you can help us get some sponsorship and advertising revenue to support this charity's battle against that painful disease. And if you've been inspired by any of the gratitudes from this week's episode, why not leave us one of your own? Just drop us a message on the Facebook or Twitter links below, and you could get a shout out in next week's Graticast. And of course, thank you for watching. Before you go, one last thing. If life starts getting you down, fluff it up. Duck feathers can make the most comfortable pillows. Stay thankful, and ciao for now.